Hello and welcome to this unexpected edition of our exploring sessions on the podcast. Since the plague struck, our exploring sessions have largely decamped over to the YouTube, leaving the podcast free for the more developed work of full-cast audioing and other audio experiences. I've been dropping a curated mini-season of old exploring sessions from the mid-Tudor period to fill in our timeline a bit, but otherwise the 600-plus new exploring sessions are all on the visual spectrum. Except for this week, where you are getting a double bill of our look at Wily Beguiled, a play of unknown authorship from 1602. Why are you getting it here? Because the tech gods frowned on us, and the sessions were such a mess that this was the only way of salvaging them. So the audio isn't quite up to snuff, and there will be some odd clunky jumps, but the meat of the work has been saved for the next time when we return and do this properly. So, I'm your host, Robert Crighton, except I'm not, because we start this disaster session with myself in absentia due to a power cut. Don't panic, dear listener. I will return. Till then, over to Liza Graham and Not Enough Readers for Wily Beguiled.
Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Beyond. I am not your host, Robert Crighton. I am myself instead, Liza Graham in London. Rob has had a power cut, which means we can do whatever we want and he'll never find out. I don't see any way this could go wrong. So what we are doing tonight is Wily Beguiled, a pleasant comedy printed by H.L. for Clement Knight and to be sold at his shop, Paul's Churchyard at the Sign of the Holy Land, 1606. The chief actors be these: a poor scholar, a rich fool, and a knave at a shift. If that description suits anyone in the room, then you must be wiser than me. So I guess that makes me the fool? Fine. In order to read this chaotic comedy, we have assembled a crack team of readers. None of you said that you were better than a Greek god at something, did you? Okay. Reading the player, Plodall, and Peg, we have...
Hi, I'm Eric, and I hope everything holds together with duct tape.
As the Juggler, Will, and Sophos, we have...
Hello, Angela from Balladade in London.
As Lelia and Robin, we have...
Hi, it's Tom from Brighton.
And as the Prologue, an old man and a nurse, we have...
Desna from Lancaster.
Fantastic. And I am your hostess, Liza Graham, and I will be reading the roles of Gripe, Peter, and Fortunatus. There are two other roles, Churms, a lawyer, and Midnight, a mother, Mother Midnight. We don't know what's going to happen when we get to them, so I guess we'll all just have to be in suspense. But notwithstanding, we have quite a lot of text to get through. There will not be many discussion breaks. I don't know how far we are supposed to get.
Scene 11.
To scene 11. Thank you, Angela. Whew, boy, one of these days I'll get a brain and then I'll be dangerous. In Act 1, Scene 1, a sign saying Spectrum is in place on stage. Very appropriate for Pride Month. Enter the prologue.
What ho? Where are these paltry players? Still pouring in their papers and never perfect. For shame, come forth. Your audience stay so long their eyes wax dim with expectation.
Enter a player.
How now, my honest rogue? What play shall we have here tonight?
Sir, you may look upon the title.
What, Spectrum once again? Why, noble Cerberus, nothing but patch panel stuff, old gallimaufries and cotton candle eloquence. Out, you bawling bandog, fox-furred slave, you dried stockfish, you, out of my sight.
Exit the player.
Well, 'tis no matter, I'll sit me down and see it. For fault of a better, I'll supply the place of a scurvy prologue. Spectrum is a looking glass indeed, wherein a man a history may read of base conceits and damned roguery, the very sink of hell-bred villainy.
Enter a juggler.
Why, how now, humorous George? What, as melancholy as a mantled tree? Will you see any tricks of legerdemain, sleight of hand, cleanly conveyance, or decepto visus? What will you see, gentlemen, to drive you out of these dumps?
Out, you soused gurnet, you wool-fist! Begone, I say, and bid the players dispatch and come away quickly. And tell their fiery poet that before I have done with him, I'll make him do penance upon a stage in a calf's skin.
Oh, Lord, sir, ye are deceived in me. I am no tale carrier. I am a juggler. I have the superficial skill of all the 7 liberal sciences at my finger's end. I'll show you a trick of the 12s, and turn him over the thumbs in a trice. I'll make him fly swifter than meditation. I'll show you as many toys as there be minutes in a month, and as many tricks as there be motes in the sun.
Prithee, what tricks canst thou do?
Marry, sir, I will show you a trick of cleanly conveyance. Hey, fortuna, forim, nunquam, credo, with a class cast of clean conveyance. Come aloft, Jack, for thy master's advantage. He's gone, I warrant ye.
The sign saying spectrum is conveyed away, and Wily Beguiled stands in the place of it.
Mass, and 'tis well done. Now I see thou canst do something. Hold thee, there is 12 pence for thy labour. Go to that Barnfroth poet, and to him say he had quite lost the title of his play. His calfskin jests from hence are clean exiled. Thus once you see that Wily is beguiled.
Ooh, exit the juggler.
Now, kind spectators, I dare boldly say, you all are welcome to our author's play. Be still a while, and ere we go, we'll make your eyes with laughter flow. Let Momus mates judge how they lisp, we fear not what they babble, nor any paltry poet's pen amongst that rascal rabble. But time forbids me further speech, my tongue must stop her race, my time is come, I must be dumb. To give the actor's place.
Exit the prologue. Scene 1. Enter Gripe, soulless. I am Gripe. A heavy purse makes a light heart. Oh, the consideration of this pouch, this pouch. Why, he that has money has heart's ease and the world in a string. Oh, this rich silver coin, it is the consolation of the world. I can sit at home, quietly in my chair, and send out my angels by sea and by land and bid, fly, villains, and fetch in 10 in the 100. Aye, and a better penny too. Let me see. I have but 2 children in all the world to bestow my goods upon. Fortunatus, my son, and Lelia, my daughter. For my son, he follows the wars, and that which he gets with swaggering, he spends in swaggering. But I'll curb him. His allowance whilst I live shall be small, and so shall he be sure not to spend much. And if I die, I will leave him the portion that, if he will be a good husband and follow his father's steps, shall maintain him like a gentleman. And if he will not, let him follow his own humor till he be weary of it, and so let him go. Now, for my daughter. She is my only joy and the staff of my age, and I have bestowed good bringing up upon her by a lady. Why, she is in modesty itself. Does me good to look on her. Now, if I can hearken out some wealthy marriage for her, I have my only desire. Mass and well remembered. Oh, here's my neighbor Plodall hard by, has but only one son, and let me see. I take it his lands are better than 5,000 pounds. Now, if I can make a match between his son and my daughter, and so join his land and my money together, ooh, 'twill be a blessed union. Ah, well, I'll in and get a scrivener. I'll write to him about it presently, but stay. Here comes Master Churms the lawyer, played for this scene by Antla. Here comes Master Churms the lawyer. I'll desire him to do so much.
Good morrow, Master Gripe.
Oh, good morrow, Master Churms. What say my 2 debtors that I lent £200 to? Will they not pay use and charges of suit?
Faith, sir, I doubt they are bankrupts. I would you had your principal.
Nay, I'll have all, or I'll imprison their bodies. But, Master Churms, there was a matter I would fain have you do, but you must be very secret.
Oh, sir, fear not that, I'll warrant you.
Why, then, this it is. My neighbour Plodall hereby, you know, is a man of very fair land, and he has but one son, upon whom he means to bestow all that he has. Now, I would make a match between my daughter Lelia and him. What think you of it?
Marry, I think 'twould be a good match. But the young man has had very simple bringing up.
Tush, what care I for that? So we have lands and living enough. My daughter has bringing up will serve them both. Now, I would have you to write me a letter to Goodman Plodall concerning this matter, and I'll please you for your pains.
I'll warrant you, sir, I'll do it artificially.
Do, good Master Churms, but be very secret. I have some business this morning, and therefore I'll leave you a while. If you'll come to dinner to me anon, you shall be very heartily welcome.
Thanks, good sir, I'll trouble you.
Exit Gripe.
Now, 'twere a good jest if I could cousin the old churl of his daughter and get the wench for myself. Zoons, I am as proper a man as Peter Plodall, and though his father be as good a man as mine, yet far-fetched and dear-bought is good for ladies, and I am sure I have been as far as Cales to fetch that I have. I have been at Cambridge a scholar, at Cales a soldier, and now in the country a lawyer, and the next degree shall be a coney catcher, for I'll go near to cousin old Father Sharepenny of his daughter. I'll cast about, I'll warrant him. I'll go dine with him, and write him his letter, and then I'll go seek out my kind companion Robin Goodfellow, and betwixt us we'll make her yield to anything. We'll have the common law of the one hand, and the civil law of the other. We'll toss Lelia like a tennis ball.
Exit Churms. Scene 2. Enter old Plodall and his son Peter, an old man, Plodall's tenant, and Will Cricket, his son.
Tenant and ill husband, bar lady, thrice at thy house and never at home. You know my mind. Will you give 10 shillings more rent? I must discharge you else.
Alas, landlord, will you undo me? I sit of a great rent already and am very poor.
Very poor? You're a very ass. Lord, how my stomach wambles at the same word, very poor. Father, if you love your son William, never name that same word, very poor, for I'll stand to it that it's petty larceny to name very poor to a man that's at the top of his marriage.
Why, son? At the top of thy marriage, to whom, I prithee?
Marry, to pretty Peg, Mr. Lelia's nurse's daughter. Oh, 'tis the dapperest wench that ever danced afore a tabor and pipe. For she will so heel it and toe it and trip it, oh, her buttocks will quake like a custard.
Why, William, when were you with her?
Oh, Peter, does your mouth water at that? Truly, I was never with her, but I know I shall speed, for t'other day she looked on me and laughed. That's a good sign, you know, and therefore, old Silvertop, never talk of charging or discharging, for I tell you, I am my father's heir, and if you discharge me, I'll discharge my pestilence at you, for to let my house before my lease be out is cutthroatery, and to scrape for more rent is poldenery, and so fare you well, good grandsire usury. Come, father, let's be gone.
Exeunt Will and his father, and we're having a short break because I am informed that Rob might be here.
Hello.
Neither
Hide the
rain nor
ducks.
hail nor sleet nor dark of night can. I did the most bumbling introduction ever.
That's all
Sorry.
right. I'm sure it was lovely.
Um,
Anyway, we will need to crack on. If I continue reading stage directions and you tell me what part needs filling in, because I'm sure there'll be some parts needing filling in.
let's see, Angela, can you keep being Churms, or is there a clash?
I don't know.
At the moment, I think you're fine for the rest of the scene, and we'll worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay,
righto.
Churms and Midnight are still unassigned.
No, I get a clash later, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Churms, you were a very good Churms last scene. Let's keep you as Churms for this scene.
All right.
So, exeunt Will and his father.
Well, I'll make the beggarly knaves to pack for this. I'll have it every gross income and rent too.
Enter Churms with a letter.
But stay, here comes one. Oh, 'tis Master Churms. I hope he brings me some good news. Master Churms, you're well met. I am in almost starved for money. You must take some damnable course with my tenants. They'll not pay.
Faith, sir, they are grown to be captious knaves, but I'll move them with a habeas corpus.
Do, good Master Churms, or use any other villainous course shall please you. But what news abroad?
Faith, little news. But here's a letter which Master Gripe desired me to deliver you, and though it stand not with my reputation to be a carrier of letters, yet not knowing how much it might concern you, I thought it better something to abase myself that you should be anyways hindered.
Thanks, good sir, and I'll in and read it.
And exeunt Plodall and his son. Churms remains.
Thus men of reach must look to live. I cry content, and murder where I kiss. Gripe takes me for his faithful friend, imparts to me the secrets of his heart, and Plodall thinks I am as true a friend to every enterprise he takes in hand as ever breathed under the cope of heaven. But damn me if they find it so. All this makes for my own avail. I'll have the wench myself, or else my wits shall fail.
Exit Churms. End of scene 2. Okay, so I don't know how much discussion you've done about the text so far. What's going on? Because I missed, obviously, the beginning. Tell me what happened.
Okay, we had a very Night of the Burning Pestle style opening where one play was announced, and then the prologue, who was basically Statler or Waldorf. The prologue was like, no, that play sucks, let's have another play. And he insulted everyone until they changed what play was on. And now we're doing Wily Beguiled. Gripe is an old miser. Gripe has 2 children, Fortunatus, his son, and Lelia, his daughter. He's going to leave all his money to both of them. He doesn't think much of Fortunatus. He's a soldier. Lelia is a good girl, and he wants to make a wealthy marriage for her with Peter, the son of Plodall. Plodall, but he's got Churms, the lawyer, to draft the letter proposing this, and Churms is like, I'm going to marry her myself. I'm quite liking Churms. Churms has potential. And we've just met Plodall and an old man. The old man is Plodall's tenant, and Will Cricket is his son. Will wants to marry Peg, the nurse's daughter, who apparently has really nice buttocks.
Yeah, quake like a custard.
And Peter is a young man who's had very simple bringing up, so I don't know whether Lelia will want to marry him.
So many questions. So, of course, temporally, as we're probably before, there's more Night of the Burning Pestle is doing something similar to this, or in fact, this is very much of a sort of very early 1600. Let's go a bit meta with our opening play things, because Johnson's doing it, Marston's doing it, they're all doing it. They're all just copying each other these days. God, where's originality, eh? Other thoughts about these openings, beyond Tracy explaining to me what happened? Any sort of interpretive thoughts or questions or things before we rattle on with more text, because we're a bit behind? Angela.
Nice bit of business at the beginning there. I thought that could be quite funny. And I like the text is very, it rushes along. It's good actually, isn't it? It's very cheery.
I'm fingers crossed we've got another one of these fun comedies that's actually fun, as opposed to fun comedies that are inherently depressing.
Well, the text is lively and the characters are boldly drawn. You know who they are as soon as they start speaking.
Excellent. Let's dig into some more characters. Scene 3. Enter Lelia and Nurse gathering of flowers.
See how the earth this fragrant spring is clad, and mantled round in sweet nymph Flora's robes. Here grows the alluring rose, sweet marigolds, and the lovely hyacinth. Come, nurse, gather a crown of roses shall adorn my head. I'll prank myself with flowers of the prime, and thus I'll spend away my primrose time.
Rufty Tufty, are you so frolic? Oh, that you knew as much as I do, 'twould cool you.
Why, what knowest thou? Nurse, I prithee thee, tell me.
Heavy news, in faith, mistress. You must be matched and married to a husband. A husband, in faith.
A husband, nurse? Why, that's good news, if he be a good one.
A good one, quotha. Why, woman, I heard your father say that he would marry you to Peter Plodall, that puckfist, that smudge snout, that coal carrier clown. Lord, 'twould be as good as meat and drink to me to see how the fool would woo you.
No, my father did but jest, thinkest thou, that I can stoop so low to make a brown bread crust, and wed a clown that's brought up in a cart?
Cart, quotha. Aye, he'll cart you, for he cannot tell how to court you.
Oh, nurse, sweet Sophos is the man whose love is locked in Lelia's tender breast. This heart hath vowed, if heavens do they deny, my love with this entombed in earth shall lie.
Peace, mistress, stand aside. Here comes somebody.
Enter Sophos.
Optatis non et spes ulla potiri, yet, Phoebus, send down thy translucent beams. Behold the earth that mourns in sad attire. The flowers at Sophos' presence 'gin to droop, whose trickling tears for Lelia's loss do turn the plains into a standing pool. Sweet Cynthia, smile, cheer up the drooping flowers. Let Sophos once more see a sunshine day. Oh, let the sacred centre of my heart, I mean fair Lelia, nature's fairest work, be once again the object to mine eyes. Oh, but I wish in vain. Whilst her I wish to see, her father he obscures her from my sight. He pleads my want of wealth, and says it is a bar in Venus's court. How hath fond fortune by her fatal doom predestined me to live in hapless hopes, still turning false her fickle wavering wheel, and love's fair goddess with her Circean cup enchanteth so fond Cupid's poisoned darts, that love, the only lodestar of my life, doth draw my thoughts into a labyrinth. But stay, what do I see? What do mine eyes behold? Oh, happy sight! It is fair Lelia's face. Hail, heaven's bright nymph, the period of my grief, sole guidress of my thoughts, and author of my joy.
Sweet Sophos, welcome to Lelia, fair Dido Carthaginian's beauteous queen. Not half so joyful was when the Trojan prince Aeneas landed on the sandy shores of Carthage. Confines as they, Lelia, is to see Sophos here arrived by chance.
And blessed be chance that hath conducted me unto the place where I might see my dear, as dear to me as is the dearest life.
So you may see that fortune is your friend.
Yes, yet fortune favours fools.
By that conclusion you should not be wise.
Foul fortune sometimes smiles on virtue fair.
'Tis then to show her mutability. But since, amid 10,000 frowning threats of fickle fortune's thrice unconstant wheel, she deigns to show one little pleasing smile, let's do our best false fortune to beguile, and take advantage of her ever-changing moods. See how Tellus' spangled mantle smiles, and birds do chant their rural sugared notes, as ravished with our meeting sweet delights. Since then there fits for love both time and place, let love and liking hand in hand embrace.
So the next way to win her love is to linger her leisure. I measure my mistress by my lovely self. Make a promise to a man and keep it. I have but one fault. I ne'er made promise in my life, but I stick to it tooth and nail. I'll pay it home in faith. If I promise my love a kiss, I'll give him two. Marry at first, I will make nice and cry, fie, fie, and that will make him come again and again. I'll make him break his wind with come agains.
But what says Lelia to her Sophos' love?
Ah, Sophos, that fond blind boy, that winged, these passions from Sophos' heart, hath likewise wounded Lelia with his dart. And force perforce I yield the fortress up. Here, Sophos, take that thy Lelia's hand, and with this hand receive a loyal heart. High Jove, that ruleth heaven bright canopy, grant to our love a wished felicity.
As joys the weary pilgrim by the way, when Phoebus wanes unto the western deep, to summon him to his desired rest, or as the poor distressed mariner, long tossed by shipwreck on the foaming waves, at length beholds the long-wished haven, although from far his heart doth dance for joy, so love's consent at length my mind hath eased, my troubled thoughts by sweet content are pleased.
My father wrecks not, wreaks not virtue, but vows to wed me to a man of wealth, and swears his gold shall counterpoise his worth. But Lelia scorns proud Mammon's golden mines, and better likes of learning's sacred law than of fond fortune's glistening mockeries. But Sophos, try thy wits and use thy utmost skill to please my father and compassed his will.
To what, fair Lelia, wills does Sophos yield content? Yet that's the troublous gulf my silly ship must pass. But were that venture harder to achieve than that of Jason for the golden fleece, I would effect it for sweet Lelia's sake, or leave myself as witness of my thoughts.
How say you by that, mistress? He'll do anything for your sake.
Thanks, gentle love. But lest my father should suspect, whose jealous head with more than august eyes doth measure every gesture that I use, I'll in and leave you here alone. Adieu, sweet friend, until we meet again. Come, nurse, follow me.
Exeunt Lelia and nurse.
Farewell, my love. Fair fortune be thy guide. Now, Sophos, now bethink thyself how thou mayst win her father's will to knit this happy knot. Alas, thy estate is poor, thy friends are few, and fear forbids to tell my fate to friends. Well, I'll try my fortunes, and find out some convenient time when, as her father's leisure best shall serve to confer with him about fair Lelia's love.
And exit Sophos. We're going to go straight into scene 4. Enter Gripe, old Plodall, Churms, and Will Cricket. And I'll ask, as we're dancing around a certain amount, Desna, if you can read Churms this time to avoid the clash.
Neighbour Plodall and Master Churms, you are welcome to my house. What news in the country, neighbour? You're a good husband. You had done sowing barley, I'm sure.
Yes, sir, and it please you a fortnight since.
And Master Churms, what say my debtors? Can you get any money of them yet?
Not yet, sir. I doubt they are scarce able to pay. You must e'en forbear them a while. They'll exclaim on you else.
Let them exclaim, and hang, and starve, and beg, let me have my money.
Here's this good fellow too, Master Churms. I must even put him and his father over into your hands. They'll pay me no rent.
This good fellow, quotha! I scorn that base-broking, brabbling, brawling, bastardly, bottle-nosed, beetle-browed, bean-bellied name. Why, Robin Goodfellow is this same cogging, pettifogging, crack-ropes, casking companion. Put me and my father over to him? Old Silvertop, and had you not put me before my father, I would have...
What wouldst have done?
I would have had a snatch at you, that I would.
What? Art a dog?
No. If I had been a dog, I would have slapped off your nose ere this, and so I should have cozened the devil of a marrowbone.
Come, let me end this controversy. Prithee, go thy ways in and bid the boy bring a cup of sack here for my friends.
Would you have a cup of sack, sir?
Away, fool, a cup of sack to drink.
Oh, I had thought you would have had a sack to have put this law-cracking cog-foist in instead of a pair of stocks.
Away, fool, get thee in, I say.
Into the buttery, you mean?
I prithee do.
I'll make your hogshead of sack rue that word.
Exit Will.
Neighbour Plodall, I sent a letter to you by Master Churms. How like you of the motion?
Marry, I like well of the motion. My son, I tell you, is in all the stay I have, and all my care is to have him take one that hath something, for as the world goes now, if they have nothing, they may beg. But I doubt he's too simple for your daughter, for I have brought him up hardly with brown bread, fat bacon, puddings, and souse, and by Our Lady, we think it good fare too.
Tush, man, I care not for that. You have no more children. You'll make him your heir and give him your lands, will you not?
Yes, is in all I have. I have nobody else to bestow it upon.
You say well.
Enter Will Cricket with a boy and wine and a napkin.
Nay, hear you. Drink afore you bargain.
Ah, mass, it is a good motion. Boy, fill some wine.
He fills them wine and gives them the napkin.
Here, neighbour, Master Churms, I drink to you.
We thank you, sir.
Lawyer, wipe clean. Do you remember?
Remember? Why?
Why? Since you know when.
Since when?
Why? Since you were bombasted that your lubberly legs would not carry your lobcock body. When you made an infusion of your stinking excrements in your stalking implements. Oh, you were plaguy frayed and foully rayed.
Prithee, peace, Will. Neighbour Plodall, what say you to this match? Shall it go forward?
Sir, that must be as our children like. For my son, I think I can rule him. Marry, I doubt your daughter will hardly like of him, for God wot, he's very simple.
My daughter's mine to command. Have I not brought her up to this? She shall have him. I'll rule the roost for that. I'll give her pounds and crowns, gold and silver. I'll weigh her down in pure angel gold. Say, man, is to match.
Faith, I agree.
But, sir, if you give your daughter so large a dowry, you'll have some part of his land conveyed to her by jointure.
Yes, marry, that I will, and will desire your help for conveyance.
Aye, good Master Churms, and you will be very well contented for your pains.
Ay, marry, that's it he looked for all this while.
Sir, I will do the best I can.
But landlord, I can tell you news, i' faith. There is one Sophos, a brave gentleman. He'll wipe your son Peter's nose of Mistress Lelia. I can tell you, he loves her well.
Nay, I trow.
Yes, I know, for I am sure I saw them close together at Poopnoddy in her closet.
I'm sure she loves him not.
Nay, I dare take on it my death she loves him, for he's a scholar, and where scholars, they have tricks for love, I faith, for with a little logic and pitomy colloquium, they'll make a wench do anything. Landlord, pray ye, be not angry with me for speaking my conscience. In good faith, your son Peter's a very clown to him. Why, he's as fine a man as a wench can see in a summer's day.
Well, that shall not serve his turn. I'll cross him, I warrant you. I'm glad I know it. I've suspected it a great while. Sophos, why, what's Sophos? A base fellow, indeed. He has a good wit and can speak well. He's a scholar, forsooth, one that hath more wit than money. I like not that. He may beg for all that. Scholars, why, what are scholars without money?
Faith in like puddings without suet.
Come, neighbor, send your son to my house, for he shall be welcome to me, and my daughter shall entertain him kindly. What, I can and will rule Lelia. Come, let's in. I'll discharge Sophos from my house presently.
Exit Gripe, Plodall, and Churms, leaving Will.
A horn plague of is this money, for it causeth many horns to bud, and for money many men are horned. For when maids are forced to love where they like not, it makes them lie where they should not. I'll be hanged if e'er Mistress Lelia will have Peter Plodall. I swear by this button cap, do you mark, and by the round sound of profound contents, do you understand, of this costly codpiece, being a good proper man, as you see, that I could get her as soon as he myself. And if I had not a month's mind in another place, I would have had a fling at her, that's flat. But I must set a good holiday face on't, and go a-wooing to pretty Peg. Well, I'll to her in faith, while 'tis in my mind. But stay, I'll see how I can woo before I go. They say use makes perfectness. Look you now, suppose this were Peg. Now, I set my cap on the side on this fashion, do you see? Then say I, sweet honey, honey, sugar candy Peg, whose face more fair than Brock, my father's cow, whose eyes do shine like bacon rind, whose lips are blue of azure hue, whose crooked nose down to her chin doth bow. For you know I must begin to commend her beauty. And then I'll tell her plainly that I am in love with her over my high shoes. And then I will tell her that I do nothing of nights but sleep, and think on her, and specially of mornings. And that does make my stomach so rise that I'll be sworn I can turn me 3 or 4 bowls of porridge over in a morning afore breakfast.
And enter Robin Goodfellow.
How now, sirrah, what makes you here? Will all that timber in your neck?
Timber? Zounds, I think he must be a witch. How knew he this were timber? At mass I'll speak him fair, and get out one's company, for I'm afraid on him.
Speak, man. What, art afraid? What makes us here?
A poor fellow, sir, had been drinking 2 or 3 pots of ale at an alehouse, and I lost my way, sir.
Oh, nay. Then I see thou art a good fellow. Seest thou not Master Churms, the lawyer, today?
No, sir. Would you speak with him?
Ay, marry I would.
If I see him, I'll tell him you would speak with him.
Nay, prithee stay. Who wilt thou tell him would speak with him?
Well, marry, you, sir.
I? Who am I?
Faith, sir, I know not.
If thou seest him, tell him Robin Goodfellow would speak with him.
Oh, I will, sir.
Exit Will Cricket.
Mass, the fellow was afraid I play the bugbear, whosoe'er I come, and make them all afraid. But here comes Master Churms.
Enter Churms.
Fellow Robin, God save you. I've been seeking you in every alehouse in the town.
What, Master Churms? What's the best news abroad? 'Tis long since I see you.
Faith, little news, but yet I am glad I have met with you. I have a matter to impart to you wherein you may stand me in some stead and make a good benefit to yourself. If we can deal cunningly, 'twill be worth a double fee to you, by the Lord.
A double fee? Speak, man, what is it? If it be to betray mine own father, I'll do it for half a fee, and for cunning let me alone.
Why then this it is. Here is Mr. Gripe hard by, a client of mine, a man of mighty wealth who has but one daughter. Her dowry is her weight in gold. Now, sir, this old penny father would marry her to one Peter Plodall, rich Plodall's son and heir, whom though his father means to leave very rich, yet he's a very idiot and brown-bread clown, and one I know the wench does deadly hate. And though their friends have given their full consent and both agreed on this unequal match, yet I know that Lelia will never marry him. But there's another rival in her love, one Sophos, and he's a scholar, one whom I think fair Lelia dearly loves, but her father hates him as he hates a toad, for he's in want, and Gripe gapes after gold, and still relies upon the old said saw, si nihil atularis, etc.
And wherein can I do any good service to you?
Marry thus, sir. I am of late grown passing familiar with Master Gripe, and for Plodall, he takes me for his second self. Now, sir, I'll fit myself to the old crummy churl's humours and make them believe I'll persuade Lelia to marry Peter Plodall, and so get free access to the wench at my pleasure. Now, on the other side, I'll fall in with the scholar, and him I'll handle cunningly too. I'll tell him that Lelia has acquainted me with her love to him, and for because her father much suspects the same, he mews her up as men do mew their hawks, and so restrains her from Sophos' sight. I'll say, because she doth repose more trust of secrecy in me than in another man, in courtesy she hath requested me to do her kindest greetings to her love.
An excellent device, in faith.
Ay, sir, and by this means I'll make a very goal of my fine Diogenes. I shall know his secrets even from the very bottom of his heart. Nay, more, sir, you shall see me deal so cunningly that he shall make me an instrument to compass his desire, when God knows I mean nothing less. Qui dissimulari pescit nescit vivere.
Why, this will be a sport alone. But what would you have me do in this action?
Marry, as I play with the one hand, play you with t'other. Fall you aboard with Peter Plodall, make him believe you'll work miracles, and that you have a powder will make Lelia love him. Nay, what will he not believe and take all that comes? You know my mind, and so we'll make a gull of one and a goose of the other. We can invent any device to bring the scholar in disgrace with her. I do not doubt, but with your help, to creep between the bark and the tree and get Lelia myself.
Tush, man, I have a device in my head already to do that. But they say her brother, Fortunatus, loves him dearly.
He's out of the country. He follows the drum and the flag. He may chance to be killed with a double cannon before he come home again. But what's your device?
Marry, I'll do this. I'll frame an incident against Sophos in a manner and form of a rape. And the next law day, you shall prefer it, that so Lelia may loathe him, her father still deadly hate him, and the young gallant, her brother, utterly forsake him.
But how shall we prove it? But how shall we prove it?
Zounds, we'll hire some strumpet or other to be sworn against him.
Now, by the substance of my soul, 'tis an excellent device. Well, let's in. I'll first try my cunning otherwise, and if all fail, we'll try this conclusion.
Excellent, Robin and Churms. And we were going, oh, this is all light and frothy. And then Robin, Goodfellow, turns up and goes, hi, I've got a really horrible plan. Would you like to try the horrible plan out? And we had this lovely bit with Will just going, practicing wooing. And you can just see him sort of setting up what he's going to woo towards. And there were some lovely bits in there. And actually, this whole little sequence with Robin and Churms, there's an awful lot of them just going, right, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do that, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do that. And I'm sort of going, well, could someone just get on with it rather than just tell us in great excessive length what you're going to do? It slightly dragged, and then it got not keen on Robin's plan. Not keen on Robin's plan. But hey, we've heard worse. At least it's not actual, and it's a thing, and maybe we can substitute it with a slightly different plan. We shall see. We shall see. Any quick thoughts before we continue? Still moving at a pace. Mostly fun. With that caveat. Eric.
It seems like a very elaborate plan to sort of, yes, we'll just trap them by law, as opposed to like sort of, I mean, knowing how law worked in back then would have taken months, whereas like, they could just sort of get him arrested and just leave him in jail rather than I don't know, it just seems like this is a bit too elaborate for comedy, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's Churms' nature, isn't it? That's where he's coming from, I suppose. Can't think of anything else. And yeah, Robin Goodfellow is this semi-supernatural figure who's popped in, so it'd be interesting to see whether he's just a rogue or whether he has powers. Certainly Will felt quite spooked by him, so in that sense, so it'll be interesting to see how that lands. Lots of interesting lines. I don't know if any of us have engaged in poop noddy in anyone's closet, but apparently it's rather enjoyable. But you can get you arrested in certain states. So scene 5, enter Mother Midnight, who again I'm going to ask Desna if you can read that. No, not Desna, it can't be. Liza, you can read Midnight for at least this scene. Enter Mother Midnight, Nurse, and Peg. Muted Mother Midnight.
Am I Midnight or Nurse?
You're Nurse. Yes, sorry, Liza
Okay.
is Midnight.
Yes, I'm scrolling to find it, and I've found it.
Excellent.
I' faith, Margaret, you must e'en take your daughter Peg home again, for she'll not be ruled by me.
Why, Mother, what shall we not do?
Faith, she neither did, nor does, nor will do anything. Send her to the market with eggs, she'll sell them and spend the money. Send her to make a pudding, she'll put in no suet. She'll run out a nights a dancing and come no more home till day peep. Bid her come to bed, she'll come when she list. Oh, 'tis a nasty shame to see her bringing up.
Out, you rogue, you arrant, etc. What, knowest not thy granam?
I know her to be a testy old fool. She's never well, but grunting in a corner.
Nay, she'll carp, I warrant you. Oh, she has a tongue. But, Margaret, even take her home to your mistress and there keep her, for I'll keep her no longer.
Mother, pray ye, take me some pains with her and keep her a while longer, and if she do not mend, I'll beat her black and blue. I' faith, I'll not fail you, minion.
Faith, at thy request, I'll take her home and try her a week longer.
Come on, huswife, please your granam, and be a good wench, and you shall have my blessing.
Come, follow us, good wench.
Exeunt Mother Midnight and Nurse, leaving Peg.
Aye, farewell, farewell after you. Your blessing, quotha, I'll not give a single halfpenny for it. Who would live under a mother's nose and a granam's tongue? A maid cannot love or catch a little lip clip or lap clap, but there's such a tittle tattle, and do not so, and be not so light, and be not so fond, and do not kiss, do not love, and I cannot tell what, and I must love, and I hang for it. A sweet thing is love that rules both heart and mind. There is no comfort in the world to women that are kind. Well, I'll not stay with her. Stay, quotha. To be yawled and jawled at and tumbled and thumbled and tossed and turned as I am by an old hag, I will not. No, I will not.
Enter Will Cricket.
But stay, I must put on my smirking looks and smiling countenance, for here comes one makes abomination suit to be my spruced husband.
Lord, that my heart would serve me to speak to her now she talks of her spruced husband. Well, I'll set a good face on it. Now, I'll clap me as close to her as Joan's buttocks of a close stool, and I'll come over her with my rolling, rattling, rumbling eloquence. Sweet penny, sweet peg, honey peg, fine peg, dainty peg, brave peg, kind peg, comely peg, my nutting, my sweeting, my love, my dove, my honey, my bunny, my duck, my dear, my darling. Grace me with thy pleasant eyes, and love without delay, and cast not with thy crab looks a proper man away.
Why, William, what's the matter?
What's the matter, quotha? Faith, I have been in fair taken for you a box on you, for till the day after I had seen you, presently my belly began to rumble. What's the matter, thought I, with that I bethought myself, and the sweet importance of that same sweet round face of thine came into my mind. Out went I, and I'll be sworn I was so near taken that I was fain to cut all my points. And dost hear, Peg, if thou dost not grant me thy goodwill in the way of marriage, first and foremost, I'll run out of my clothes, and then out of my wits for thee.
Nay, William, I would be loath you should do so for me.
Will you look merrily on me and love me then?
Faith, I care not greatly if I do.
Care not greatly if I do? What answer is that? If thou wilt say, I, Peg, take thee, William, to my spruce husband.
Why, so I will, but we must have more company for witnesses first.
Enter dancers and pipers.
That needs not. Here's good store of young men and maids here.
Why, then here's my hand.
Faith, that's honestly spoken. Say after me. I, Peg Pudding, promise thee, William Cricket, that I'll hold thee for my own sweet Lily, while I have a head in mine eye and a face in my nose, a mouth in my tongue, and all that a woman should have, from the crown of my foot to the sole of my head. I'll clasp thee and clip thee, call thee and kiss thee, till I be better than naught and worse than nothing. When thou art ready to sleep, I'll be ready to snort. When thou art in health, I'll be in gladness. And when thou art sick, I'll be ready to die. And when thou art mad, I'll run out of my wits, and thereupon I strike thee good luck. Well said, i' faith. Oh, I could find in my hose to pocket thee in my heart. Come, my heart of gold, let's have a dance at the making up of this match. Strike up, Tom Piper.
They dance.
Come, Peg, I'll take the pains to bring thee homeward, and at twilight look for me again.
And they exit. Will does some wooing. Nice wooing there from Will. Yeah, very enthusiastic with lots of flowing words. And I love this. We must have more company for witnesses. And then just randomly, house band enters. And hi! Did someone say they needed some witnesses? And off they go. So, yeah. Again, there's some lovely lovely characterization, but there's also just random things happen. It's like, it feels like, yeah, it does feel very meta at times. Like they know at this moment, we need some more people on stage. Shumph. They appear. Any brief thoughts before we go on to our next scene? Eric.
It is a bit of a musical, isn't it? Just a teensy bit. It's like, oh, if only we had some witnesses to see this match, whatever. And it's like, oh, look at these people.
Yeah, that clearly these are the two clowns who can sing. So there may be other people in this play who can We'll find out as we go.
That we will. Angela.
Luckily, Peg hasn't said I do in the present tense to Will, because you don't have to go to church in 1606. So he's got he never gave her the chance to say anything, so she won't be actually married.
But give it time. Give it time. Let's see where this goes. Okay, scene 6. Enter Robin Goodfellow and Peter Plodall.
Come hither, my honest friend. Master Churms told me you had a suit to me. What's the matter?
Pray you, sir, is your name Robin Goodfellow?
My name is Robin Goodfellow.
Marry, sir, I hear you're a very cunning man, sir, and to reverence of your worship, sir, I'm going a-wooing to one Mistress Lelia, a gentlewoman here, hard by. Pray you, sir, tell me how I should behave myself to get her to my wife, for, sir, there's a scholar about her. Now, if you can tell me how I should wipe his nose of her, I would a fee of you.
Let me sit, and thou shalt see what I'll say to thee.
He gives him money.
Well, follow my counsel, and I'll warrant thee. I'll give thee a love powder for thy wench, and a kind of nux vomica in a potion shall make her come off in face.
Oh, shall I trouble you so far as to take some pains with me? I am loath to have the dodge.
Tush, fear not the dodge. I'll rather put on my flashing red nose and my flaming face and come wrapped in a calf skin and cry, "Bo, bo, I'll fry thy scholar. I warrant thee. But first go to her. Try what thou canst do. Perhaps she'll love thee without any further ado. But thou must tell her thou hast good stock, some 100 or 2 a year, and that will set her hard, I warrant thee. For they, the mass, I was once in a good comfort to have consent a wench, and once what I told her that I had £100 land a year in a place where I have not the breadth of my little finger. I promised her to an off her in £40 a year, and think of thy conscience. If I had but this good face as thine, I should have made her have a crush the time that ever she see it. And thus thou must do. Crack and lie and face thou art shall triumph mightily.
I need not do so, for I may say and say true, I have lands and living enough for a country fellow.
By thy ladies, so had not I. I was fain to overreach as many times I do, but now experience hath taught me so much craft that I excel in cunning.
Well then, sir, I'll be bold to trust in your cunning. So I bid you farewell, and go forward. I'll to her, that's flat.
Do so, and let me hear how you speed.
That I will, sir.
Exit Peter.
Well, a good beginning makes a good end. Here's 10 groats for thy doing nothing. I'll con Master Churms thanks to this, for this was his device, and therefore I'll go and seek him out, and give him a quart of wine. And now of him, how he deals with the scholar.
Exit Robin. Straight into scene 7. Enter Churms, who will remain Desna, I think. I think that works. And Sophos.
Why, look ye, sir, by the Lord, I can but wonder at her father. He knows you to be a gentleman of good bringing up, though your wealth would not be answerable to his, yet, by heavens, I think you are worthy to do far better than Lelia. Yet I know she loves you dearly.
The great Tartarian emperor Tamar Cham joyed not so much in his imperial crown as Sophos joys in Lelia's hoped-for love, whose looks would pierce an adamantine heart, and makes the proud beholders stand at gaze to draw love's picture from her glancing eye.
And I would stretch my wits unto the highest strain to further Sophos in his wished desire.
Thanks, gentle sir, but truce a while, here comes her father.
Enter Gripe.
I must speak a word or two with him.
Aye, he'll give you your answer, I warrant ye.
God save you, sir.
Master Sophos, I have longed to speak with you a great while. I hear you seek my daughter Leila's love. I hope you will not seek to dishonest me nor disgrace my daughter.
No, sir. A man may ask a yea, a woman may say nay. She is in choice to take her choice. Yet I must confess, I love Lelia.
Sir, I must be plain with you. I like not of your love. Lelia's mine. I'll choose for Lelia, and therefore I wish you not to frequent my house any more. It's better for you to ply your book and seek for some preferment that way than to seek for a wife before you know how to maintain her.
I am not rich, I am not very poor. I neither want nor ever shall exceed. The mean is my contact. I live twixt two extremes.
Well, I tell ye, I like not you should come to my house, and presume so proudly to match your poor pedigree with my daughter Lelia. Therefore I charge you to get off my ground. Come no more at my house. I like not this learning without living, I.
He needs must go that the devil drives. Sic vortus sine sensu languet.
Exit Sophos.
Master Churms, cry ye mercy, sir, I saw not you. I've sent the scholar away with a flea in his ear. I trow he'll come no more at my house.
No, for if you do, you may indict him for coming off your ground.
Well, now I'll home and keep in my daughter. She shall neither go to him nor send to him. I'll watch her, I'll warrant her. For God, Master Churms, it is the peevishest girl that ever I knew in my life. She will not be ruled, I doubt. Pray you, sir, do you endeavour to persuade her to take Peter Plodall?
I warrant ye, I'll persuade her, fear not.
And they exit straight into scene 8. Enter Lelia and Nurse.
What sorrow seetheth on my heart, on my heavy heart? Consuming care possesseth every part. Heart sad Erinus keep his mansions here, within the close of my woeful breast. And black despair with iron sceptre stands, and guides my thought down to his hateful cell. The wanton winds with whistling murmur bear my piercing plaints along the desert plains, and woods and groves do echo forth my woes, and earth below relents in crystal tears. When heavens above, by some malignant course of fatal stars, are authors of my grief, fond love, go hide thy shaft in folly's den, and let the world forget thy childish force. Or else fly, pierce Sappho's tender breast, that he may help to sympathize those plaints that wring these tears from Lelia's weeping eyes.
Why, how now, mistress? What? Is it love that makes you weep and toss and turn so o' nights when you're in bed? Saint Leonard grant you fall not lovesick.
Aye, that's the point that pierceth to the quick. Would Atropos would cut my vital thread, and so make lavish of my loathed life, or gentle heavens would smile with fair aspect, and so give better fortunes to my love. Why, it's not a play to be a prisoner of my own father.
Yes, and it's a shame for him to use you so too. But be of good cheer, mistress. I'll go to Sophos every day. I'll bring you tidings and tokens too from him, I'll warrant you. And if he'll send you a kiss or two, I'll bring it. Let me alone. I am good at a deadlift. Marry, I cannot blame you for loving of Sophos. Why, he's a man as one should picture him in wax. But mistress, out of ponds, wipe your eyes. For here comes another wooer.
Enter Peter Plodall.
Mistress Lelia,
That's more than we needed this time, for we are doing nothing.
'twere as good say a good word as a bad.
But it's more wisdom to say nothing at all than speak to no purpose.
My purpose is to wive you.
And mine is never to wed you.
Belike you're in love with somebody else?
No, but she's lustily promised. Here you with a long rifle by your side. Do you lack a wife?
Call you this a rifle? It's a good back sword.
Well, then you with the back sword. Let's see your back.
Nay, I must speak with Mistress Lelia before I go.
What would you with me?
Mary, I have heard very well of you, and so is my father too, and he has sent me to you a wooing. And if you have any mind of marriage, I hope I shall maintain you as well as any husbandman's wife in the country.
Maintain her? With what?
Marry with lands and livings my father has promised me.
I have heard much of your wealth, but I never knew your manners before now.
Oh, faith, I have no manners, but a pretty homestall, and we have great store of oxen and horses and carts and plows and household stuff abomination, and great flocks of sheep and flocks of geese and capons and hens and ducks. Oh, we have a fine yard of pulling, and thank God here's a fine weather for my father's lands.
I cannot live content in discontent, for as no music can delight the ears, with all the parts of discords are composed, so wedlock bands will still consist in jars, where in condition there's no sympathy. Then rest yourself contented with this answer: I cannot love.
Oh, it's no matter what you say, for my father told me thus much before I came that you would be something nice at first, but he bade me like you ne'er the worse for that, for I were the liker to speed.
Then you were the best leave of your suit till some other time. And when my leisure serves me to love you, I'll send you word.
Will you? Well, then I'll take my leave of you, and if I may hear from you, I'll pay the messenger well for his pains. Oh, but stay, God's death, I'd almost forgot myself. Pray you, let me kiss your hand ere I go.
Faith, mistress, his mouth runs a water for a kiss. A little would serve his turn, belike. Let him kiss your hand.
I'll not stick to that.
Mistress Lelia, God be with you.
Farewell, Peter.
Exit Peter.
There's Lucrece set in golden chair of state, when leaning bid stand by, and keep aloof. This greedy humour fits my father's vein, who grapes for nothing but the golden gain.
And enter Churms, because we have a clash. We'll ask Angela to resume Churms. You were Churms earlier on. You get a chance to resume some churming, as it were, as Churms enters here, so that you don't have to. The nurse doesn't have to talk to themselves.
Mistress, take heed you speak nothing that will bear action, for here comes Mr. Churms, the pettifogger.
Mistress Lelia, rest you merry. What's the reason you and your nurse walk here alone?
Because, sir, we desire no other company but our own.
Ah, would I were then your own, that I might keep you company.
Oh, sir, you and he that is her own are far asunder.
But if she please, we may be nearer.
That cannot be. Mine own is nearer than myself, and yet myself, alas, am not mine own. Thoughts, fears, despairs, 10,000 dreadful dreams. Those are mine own, and those do keep me company.
Before God, I must confess your father is too cruel to keep you thus sequestered from the world, to spend your prime of youth thus in obscurity, and to seek to wed you to an idiot fool that knows not how to use himself. Could my deserts but answer my desires, I swear by soul, fair Phoebus's silver eye, my heart would wish no higher to aspire than to be graced with Lelia's love. By Jesus, I cannot play the dissembler, and woo my love with courting ambages, like one whose love hangs on his smooth tongue's end. But in a word, I tell the sum of my desires. I love fair Lelia. By her my passions daily are increased, and I must die unless by Lelia's love they be released.
Why, Master Churms, I had thought that you had been my father's great counsellor in all these actions.
Nay, damn me, if I be. My heaven's sweet nymph, I am not.
Master Churms, you are one can do much with her father, and if you love as you say, persuade him to use her more kindly and give her liberty to take her choice. For these maid marriages prove not well.
I protest I will.
So Lelia shall accept thee as her friend. Meanwhile, nurse, let's in. My long absence, I know, will make my father's muse.
Exeunt Lelia and nurse.
So, Lelia shall accept thee as her friend. Who can but ruminate upon these words? Would she had said her love. But 'tis no matter. First creep, then go. Now her friend, the next degree is Lelia's love. Well, I'll persuade her father to let her have a little more liberty. But soft, I'll none of that neither, so the scholar may chance to cozen me. Persuade him to keep her in still, and before she'll have Peter Plodall, she'll have anybody, and so I shall be sure that Sophos shall never come at her. Why, I'll warrant ye, she'll be glad to run away with me at length. Hang him that has no shifts. I promise Sophos to further him in his suit, but if I do, I'll be pecked to death with hens. I swore to Gripe I would persuade Lelia to love Peter Plodall, but God forgive me, 'twas the furthest end of my thought. Tut, what's an oath? Every man for himself. I'll shift for one, I warrant ye.
Exit Churms with boo hiss ringing out from the audience. Yeah.
I mean, dude's got style at least.
Oh yeah, got some moxie about him. Yeah, we've got an awful lot of sort of people pinging back and forth in all sorts of different ways, and Peter coming in, and I do like Peter's whole thing of I've got to kiss your hand before I go. That's what people do, isn't it? It's one of those things. Yeah, the sort of mix. I do get the impression that there's sort of almost a sort of flailing of almost too many strands to these wooings that are going on here. I'm sort of not quite sure of all the ins and outs, especially as none of them are quite gone anywhere yet. In a weird way, there's an awful lot of flailing tendrils, but it doesn't feel that they've been developed beyond some flailing. It's like Churms hasn't really done anything yet. He's vaguely talked about doing something with Robin, but hasn't really done anything yet. And there's still lots of witty dialogue and verve and energy, but it doesn't feel plotted in that sense. It feels a bit amorphous. So I'm thinking that maybe once we've got a sense of the overall text, that maybe there's a sense of dramaturging it a bit to give it a bit more shape. That might be possible because, say, there's just a lot of things happening without necessarily a properly developed story. Tom?
But that's part of the charm, I think. It's a bit like a Grand National. They're all these galloping horses, and they do gallop. And there are various fences, and I'm enjoying the tumult. So I understand what you're saying, the plot, but I think if it comes together, it will be a grand race, I think.
Other thoughts
And
before
personally, forgive me.
Sorry, say
Personally,
again?
I think Angela's on fire this evening.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah,
Liza?
Angela and Desna.
Some good readings going on. Eric?
I'm not quite sure what that means. Oh,
Not in a 1666 sort of way.
You did say you were running for a charger in the chat, so I was just wondering,
I
they
thought
tend
that's
to
what
get
it
very
was.
hot. Anyway, Eric.
I was just gonna say that Churms is reminding me a bit of that. Can't remember his name, but he reminds me of a character from Shoemaker's Holiday, who basically like sort of tries to woo Rafe's wife, Jane, I think, and sort of who because Rafe is presumed to be dead at war, and he basically frames her, and then they discover the plot and sort of frame him and get him to basically back off, which is kind of cool. I know that's what this scene reminded me of.
Yeah, there's something about Churms. It's an awful lot of smoke and not necessarily much fire here. He's talking a good game, but he hasn't really done anything yet properly. I mean, he's sort of talking about being evil, and he's told a few fibs, but he hasn't really done anything yet. So I'm waiting for him to be properly dastardly. Anyway, we've got a few more scenes to cram in before we close the session, if we can manage it. So, scene 9, enter Fortunatus Solus.
Thus have I passed the beating billows of the sea, by Ithac's rocks and watery Neptune's bounds, and wafted safe from Mars his bloody fields, where trumpets sound Tantara to the fight, and here arrived for to repose myself upon the borders of my native soil. Now, Fortunatus, bend thy happy course unto thy father's house, to greet thy dearest friends, and if that still thy aged sire survive, thy presence will revive his drooping spirits, and cause his withered cheeks be sprent with youthful blood, where death of late was portrayed to the quick. But soft, who comes here?
He stands aside as enter Robin Goodfellow. Currently muted in his magical state.
I wonder I hear not of Master Churms. I would fain know how he speeds, and what success he has had in Lelia's love. Well, if he chosen the scholar of her, 'twould make my worship laugh, and if he have her, he may say, good mercy, Robin Goodfellow, oh, wear a good head as long as you live. Why, Master Gripe, he cast beyond the moon, and Churms is the only man he puts in trust with his daughter. And I'll warrant the old churl will take it upon his salvation that he will persuade her to marry Peter Plodall. But I will make a fool of Peter Plodall. I'll look him in the face and prick his purse, while Churms chosen him of his wench, and my old grandsire hold fast of his daughter. And if he can do so, I'll teach him a trick to chosen her of his gold too. Now for Sophos, let him wear the willow garland and play the melancholy malcontent, and pluck his hat down in his sullen eyes, and think on Lelia in these desert groves. 'Tis enough for him to have her in his thoughts, although he'll ne'er embrace her in his arms. But now there's a fine device come into my head to scare the scholar. You shall see. I'll make a fine sport with him. They say that every day trees engraves the tenor. They say that every day he keeps his walk amongst the woods and melancholy shades, and on the bark of every senseless tree engraves the tenor of his hapless love. Now, when he's at Venus' altar, at his orisons, I'll put thee on my great carnation nose, and wrap me in a rousling calfskin suit, and come like some hobgoblin, or some devil ascend from the grisly pit of hell, and like a sky babe make him take his legs. I'll play the devil, I warrant thee.
Exit Robin Goodfellow.
And if you do by this hand, I'll play the conjurer. Blush, Fortunatus, at the base conceit, to stand aloof like one that's in a trance, and with thine eyes behold that miscreant imp, whose tongue's more venomous than the serpent's sting, before thy face thus taunt thy dearest friends, I thine own father, with reproachful terms. Thy sister Lelia she is bought and sold, and learned Sophos, thy thrice vowed friend, is made a stale by this base cursed crew and damned den of vagrant runagates. But here, in sight of sacred heavens, I swear by all the sorrows of the Stygian souls, by Mars his bloody blade and fair Bellona's bowers, I vow these eyes shall ne'er behold my father's face, these feet shall never pass these desert plains, but pilgrim-like I'll wander in these woods until I find out Sophos' secret walks, and sound the depth of all their plotted drifts, nor will I cease until these hands revenge the injurious wrong that's offered to my friend upon the workers of this stratagem.
Exit Fortunatus. Scene 10. Enter Peg Solar.
Faith, I cannot tell what to do. I love, and I cannot tell who. Out upon this love. For what do you want? I have suitors come huddled, twos upon twos, and threes upon threes. And what think you troubles me? I must chat and kiss with all comers, or else no bargain.
Enter Will Cricket and kisses her.
A bargain in faith? Ah, my sweet honey sops, how dost thou?
Well, I thank you, William. Now I see you're a man of your word.
A man of my word, quotha? Why, I ne'er broke premise in my life that I kept.
No, William, I know you did not, but I had forgotten me.
Dost hear, Peg? If e'er I forget thee, I pray God I may never remember thee.
Peace, here comes my gran at midnight.
Enter Mother
What?
Midnight.
Peg, what ho? What Peg, I say? What Peg, my wench? Where art thou, troth?
Here, Granam, at your elbow.
What makes thou here this twatterlight? I think thou art in a dream. I think the fool haunts thee.
Zoons, fool in your face? Fool? Oh, monstrous intellation! Fool? Oh, disgrace to my person! Sounds fool, not me, for I cannot brook such a cold rasher, I can tell you. Give me but such another word, and I'll be thy tooth-drawer, even of thy butter-tooth, thou toothless trot, thou!
Nay, William, pray be not angry. You must bear with old folks. They be old and testy, hot and hasty. Set not your wit against mine, William, for I thought you no harm by my faith.
Well, your good words have something laid my collar. But, Granam, shall I be so bold to come to your house now and then to keep Peg company?
Aye, and beshrew thy good heart, and thou dost not. Come, and we'll have a piece of a barley bag pudding or something, and thou shalt be very heartily welcome, and that thou shalt, and Peg shall bid thee welcome too. Pray ye, maid, bid him welcome, and make much of him, for by my faith he's a good proper springle.
Graham, if you did but see him dance to do your heart good, Lord, would make anybody love him to see how finely he'll foot it.
Oh, William, prithee go home to my house with us and take a cup of our beer and learn to know the way again another time.
Come on, Granham, I'll man you home in faith. Come, Peg.
And they exit. Scene 11.
Woo.
Enter Gripe, old Plodall and his son Peter, and Churms the lawyer. And I think Churms is going to have to be Angela again.
Come hither, Peter, hold up your head. Where is your cap and leg, sir boy, huh? Can't hear you, son.
By your leave, Master Gripe. Welcome, Peter. Give me thy hand out. Welcome, by a lady. This is a good, proper, tall fellow, neighbor. Call you him a boy.
A good, pretty, square springle, sir.
Peter, you have seen my daughter, I'm sure. How do you like her? What says she to you? Faith, I like her well, and I've broke my mind to her, and she would say neither aye nor no. But thank you, thank God, sir, we parted good friends for she let me kiss her hand and bade, farewell, Peter. And therefore, I think I'm like enough to speed. How think you, Master Churms?
Mary, I think so too, for she did show no token of any dislike of your motion, did she?
No, not a whit, sir.
Why, then I warrant ye, for we hold in our law that idem est non apparare et non esse.
Master Churms, I pray you do so much as call my daughter hither. I will make her sure here to Peter Plodall, and I desire you to be a witness.
With all my heart, sir.
Exit Churms.
For God, neighbor, this same Master Churms is a very good lawyer, for I warrant you cannot speak anything, but he has law for it ad unguem.
Marry, even the more joy on him, and he's one I'm very much beholden to. But here comes your daughter.
Enter Churms, Lelia, and Nurse.
Father, did you send for me?
Aye, wench, I did. Come hither, Lelia, give me thy hand. Master Churms, I pray you bear witness, I here give Lelia to Peter Plodall.
She plucks away her hand.
How now?
She'll none, thanks you, sir.
Will she none? Why, how now, I say, what you puling, peevish thing, you untoward baggage, will you not be ruled by your father? Have I taken care to bring you up to this, and will you do as you list? Away, I say, hang, starve, beg, be gone, pack, I say, out of my sight. Thou never gettest pennyworth of my goods for this, think on't. I do not use to jest. Begone, I say, I will not hear thee speak.
Exeunt Lelia and Nurse.
I pray you, sir, patient yourself. She's young.
I hold my life, this beggarly scholar hankers about her still, makes her so untoward. But I'll set her a harder task, I'll keep her in, look to her a little better than I have done. I'll make her have little mind of gadding, I warrant her. Come, neighbour, send your son to my house, for he's welcome thither, and shall be welcome. And I'll make Lelia bid him welcome, too, ere I done with her. Come, Peter, follow us.
And exeunt all except for Churms.
Why, this is excellent. Better and better still. This is beyond expectation. Why, now this gear begins to work. But beshrew my heart, I was afraid that Lelia would have yielded. When I saw her father take her by the hand and call me for a witness, my heart began to quake. But to say the truth, she had little reason to take a cullion lugloaf milksop slave, when she may have a lawyer, a gentleman that stands upon his reputation in the country, one whose diminutive defect of law may compare with his little learning. Well, I see that Churms must be the man must carry Lelia when all's done.
Enter Robin Goodfellow.
How now, Master Churms? What news abroad? Methinks you look very spruce. You are very frolic now of late.
What, fellow Robin? How goes the squares with you? Y'are waxen very proud o' late. You will not know your own friends.
Faith, I am even came to seek you, to bestow a quart of wine of you.
That's strange. You were never wont to be so liberal.
Tush, man, one good turn asks another. Clear gains, man, clear gains. Peter Plodall shall pay for all. I have gulled him once, and I'll come over him again and again, I warrant ye.
Faith, Lelia has e'en given him the doff here, and has made her father almost stark mad.
Oh, all the better. And then I shall be sure of more of his custom. But what success have you in your suit with her?
Faith, all hitherto goes well. I have made the motion to her, but as yet we are grown to no conclusion. But I am in very good hope.
But do you think you shall get her father's goodwill?
If I get the wench, I care not for that. That will come afterward. And I'll be sure of something in the meantime, for I have outlawed a great number of his debtors, and I'll gather up what money I can amongst them, and Gripe shall never know of it either.
Aye, and of those there are scarce able to pay, take the one half and forgive them the other, rather than set out it all.
Tush, let me alone for that. But, sirrah, I have brought the scholar into a fool's paradise. Why, he has made me his spokesman to Mistress Lelia, and God's my judge, I never so much as name him to her.
Oh, by the mass well remembered, I'll tell you what I mean to do. I'll attire myself fit for the same purpose, like to have some hellish hag or damned fiend, and meet with Sophos wandering in the woods. Oh, I shall flay him terribly.
I would thou couldst scare him out of his wits. Then should I have the wench cocksure. I doubt nobody but him.
Well, let's go drink together, and I'll go put out my devilish robes, I mean my Christmas calfskin suit, and then walk to the woods. Oh, I'll terrify him, I warrant ye.
And exeunt. So Robin Goodfellow in here is more trickster than so, you know, he's not really doing supernatural things. He's putting on a costume and he's going to do scary stuff with it. And he keeps talking about he's got a big red nose and his the cloak or whatever it is he's got and stuff. But it does all seem very, very human in that sense. And he's more changeling than anything else, perhaps. But yeah, not necessarily wholly supernatural in powers. All sorts of things coming a bit to a head there, in the sense that we have this a betrothal scene with the father's preferred. And she refuses, and she's cast out, and Churms is sitting there going, everything is going according to plan, even though almost nothing I have done has added any effect on the actual plot. Because, again, he's done a little bit. He's sort of not pushed forward Sophos, but he hasn't, and he's sort of vaguely done some manoeuvring. But he's really playing more evil than he is in terms of his actual actions. I mean, you know, he's going to have to start drowning some puppies soon, or you know, we're not going to really give him any evil street cred, are we? Once again, we're getting a lot of scenes where evil people, in theory, chat to each other about the evil things they're going to do without actually doing anything. I mean, that's another scene with Robin and Churms that doesn't really go anywhere, and it's starting to annoy me. I'm starting to feel that's getting trimmed back. That's where the trims are going to live. But still some good stuff. Angela.
Well, I'm just interested that some of these characters have got, like Sophos with all his poetry, and Lelia with all her poetry. You know, Will has got all this sort of like fantastic language, and it is odd that the kind of evil twins, they haven't got any language of their own. You know, they don't use it in any particular way. There's nothing. It's quite hard to characterize. They don't, you know. So you kind of wonder how you would play that to make that feel evil. I mean, you could do what you were going, ha ha ha. Maybe that's the answer. I don't know.
Well, Churms does also seem to be speaking in quotation a lot of the time, or semi-quotation. It's like he's read a lot of people doing evil things, and so he's doing sort of pastiche of it. So there does seem to be a slightly meta quality to some of that. You know, that he almost knows he's a sort of wandering villain kind of figure. I liked Fortunatus's entrance. I thought Fortunatus, very different Fortunatus to the other that we have encountered elsewhere. This is a soldiery type figure who's terribly, terribly upright and turns up. And it's that thing. Unfortunately, we have to listen to Robin telling us stuff that we already know, so that he can tell Fortunatus, and it's sort of like going, "Oh, again." I mean,
Yes,
it's a good speech.
And Robin saying that he's going to do a costume change, and he's like, in his last 3 appearances, in all 3 of them, he said, "I'm going to put on my costume and be really scary," and he has not done this yet.
No, but we are about. I think it might be imminent. So a lot of expectation on this calf skin suit that's coming up. Eric.
Just wondering if that's because of the doubling, because maybe like Sophos is doubled with like, I don't know, Robin or someone else, so like sort of, or Churms even. So then again, no, wait, that doesn't work because Sophos talks to Churms at some point. So yeah, that would not work. But I mean, I'm just wondering if that is a doubling issue where he doubles with someone else, so he can't actually. He has to go off for a costume change to change into Sophos, and then I don't know, maybe
I mean,
sort of signifier.
It's not a massive cast overall. I mean, there's plenty of parts to go around, but actually, for most playing companies, it's almost a part of a piece. Actually, it doesn't feel that there's that much doubling that might need to go on, except for when we have excess numbers of dancers and pipers. We don't know who this is for, by the way. What the auspices of it is. The text is slightly contradictory in places as to clues as to who might be playing it. So it's difficult to tell, but it does feel on the whole that actually there isn't that much doubling going on, because it's quite difficult to effectively double some of these characters. That's not to say there isn't doubling, or there isn't designed that way. Tom, then Eric again.
Well, I agree with you. It just seems to be that Robin Goodfellow is completely superfluous, and it's got very impotent speeches. I mean, we're all waiting for the powerful evil, and it just seems to be, you know, as you say, a conniving. It just seems to be a superfluous character, because everything else in the play is nicely written.
I mean, he has had some impact. He has had a scene where he, you know, because he spoke to Peter, didn't he? Was it Peter? Yeah, Robin and Peter. So he did sort of push Peter in a direction, and obviously he's doing an awful lot of plotting. But I think Churms is not dissimilar on that front, in the sense that Churms hasn't actually done that much. He's involved in the plot much more because he's the lawyer. But again, it's like stuff sort of just happening.
Well, his whole gambit is to not do things, right? To not advance Peter Plodall's suit and not advance Sophos's suit after having told both of them he would. And meanwhile, to woo for himself, which we saw him do for about 2 seconds and fall flat on his butt.
And also, he doesn't collect rent. That came out as well. So you're right. So he doesn't collect the rent either.
So yeah, it's strange because it's got a lot of life. The text really does bounce along, and it's really fun. But it is that sense we got halfway through the text now and sort of going, there's nothing really to hang on to. I feel like there aren't quite enough footholds, and we might need to do a little work on that. Eric.
I'm just enjoying all the sort of Will and Peg action and the sort of Mother Midnight Nurse issues, just because like it just seems so irrelevant to like the main plot as well, and just because Will is clearly not as, I don't know, silver tongued or whatever as Sophos is or whatever, and so he kind of, but he's perfectly matched with Peg. So it's kind of like the meeting of, I don't know, they kind of just get along. It's like, I will woo her and love her, and he doesn't even question if she's gonna say no. He just kind of goes, yeah, she will love me and I will love her and it will be fine. And that is actually what happens. There's no actual like suspense there. And then when he meets like Mother Midnight as well, it just kind of like I thought she was gonna try and throw him out of the house or something, or tell him to leave her alone, leave Peg alone. But then like sort of she just goes along with it,
Yeah.
which is just great.
I mean, thematically, it's connected, even if plot-wise it's not wholly integrated. But I mean, thematically, we have just this different wooing. And you're right, it's rather joyous. I really love Will. I think Will, and you're right, that I'm actually more invested in the subplot than I am perhaps in the A plot, which is fine. We've been here before. We've been here before with the play with Robin Goodfellow. Just going, oh, quite like the B plot. It's not very deep. There's not much to it, but it's quite fun, and there's some dancing and pipers. So what's not to like? Any final thoughts in the room before I close this not desperately well auspiced session? Liza, any final thoughts to throw in?
Well, I despite the technical troubles we've had reading it, I really enjoy this play. The plot doesn't bounce along as merrily as I might have hoped, but I like the dialogue, I like the characterization, I like the parody of high drama that our doomed lovers have. In fact, I like that they're both learned and they both sit around making classical references to each other as their preferred thing to do. And yeah, I mean, it's simple, but it's a play that does the job, and I quite like that.
Angela, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think I mean, it's been great. It's really been fun. Will is fantastic. I just love those scenes. But it is interesting that this is kind of this is a play about class, isn't it? So you've got Fortunatus and Lelia and Sophos, all of one particular class, and they come over in their language. I mean, Fortunatus's speeches are just fabulous, aren't they? They're absolutely like Sophos's and Lelia's speeches. That kind of real stereotype of learned talk. And then you've got all these other classes and their aspirations, the country and the town and so on. So that, I think, is brilliant, actually. It's really fascinating.
Tom, any final thoughts?
Just to echo what everybody else has said, it's been a very entertaining couple of hours. I mean, the dialogue is fabulous, and it seems to pass no time at all. So,
and Eric, any final thoughts?
I kind of just want to see like the sort of play about Will and Peg now. I don't really care about the main plot. It's like, yeah, no, it's fun, but I mean, like, it's just, you rarely get comedies that are sort of like just two people messing around, like being happy. But no, it's funny.
Yeah, two people just messing around, being happy. More of that, please. Well, with that, after what has been a technically fraught session, all that remains to thank all the wonderful readers for all their wonderful reading. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye, my love, my dove, my honey, my bunny, my duck, my dear, and my darling. Many thanks once again to all the readers who managed to struggle through this first session of Wily Beguiled. The next session went much more smoothly and won't have additional introduction from me, so in a short while you will be able to listen to the second part of our reading of Wily Beguiled and discussion. Till then, I've been your host, Robert Crighton. You've been listening to the Beyond podcast, and goodbye. Because I'm just going to record it. So for reference, this is Wily Beguiled continued, disaster sessions, scene 4. So, scene 4, enter Gripe, old Plodall, Churms, and Will Cricket.
Neighbor Plodall and Master Churms.
Do you afford
I doubt they are scarce.
Here's this good fellow too.
Joking Brab.
I'll be lucky. Maybe this time I'll win.
Okay, shall we try scene 4 again and see if this cursed session will get somewhere close? Okay. Scene 4, enter Gripe, old Plodall, Churms, and Will Cricket. And if it sounds like I'm laughing for no readily apparent reason, it's because we keep doing the beginning of this scene like some sort of Groundhog Day.